is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
You're joking. Well, let's get back to it.
Yes, that was the government promising that they're going to be as fast as they possibly can, which means they'll be as slow as they possibly can. Bands of heavier showers arrive from the west during this evening. Heavier? It's going to get worse. Oh, my God. What have I done to deserve this? Winds will strengthen overnight, especially on exposed coasts in the west. Saturday, breezy for most, temperatures around average, warm at times in any sunshine, heavy, perhaps thundery showers likely in the north. Well, the northwest, I bet. I bet the rain will be landing mostly in the northwest. I can check that while you wait. Blimey, look at Sydney. Sunny every single day. God, how depressing. It's warmer in the winter in Sydney than it is in the summer here. Not that I'm complaining about it.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
OK, so here's Glasgow. Oh, good grief. It's raining at this minute in Glasgow. Don't say that it isn't. It will also be raining tomorrow, and raining on Sunday, and raining on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and raining on Wednesday, and raining on Thursday, and what? Not raining next Friday? Pfft, rubbish. It'll be raining next Saturday, and on Sunday, and the following Monday, and Tuesday, and Wednesday. But the prediction is on Thursday the 10th, you may get a dry day. Do you believe that?
No.
Me neither. The outlook for Sunday to Tuesday, heavy showers at first, followed by rain. And after the rain, showers. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the month of August?
No.
I don't blame you. Fingers crossed, this really is it, people. Last month before we get instant autumn. September the 1st, all the warmth will go out of the wind. You know that it will. Just can't stand it anymore. What have I done to deserve this? Why is this happening to me? Right, first 2 weeks of August. At first, showers, followed by rain, turning heavy with thunder, lightning, very, very frightening.
Rock and roll!
Then towards the end of the week, that is next week, a mixture of sunshine and showers. Wettest across the northwest, while the southeast is likely to be drier. And repeat everything that I've just said for the second week in August. It's going to be the same. Temperatures are likely to remain below average. Yeah. Then, last 2 weeks of August. This is it, people. Before we go around the sun again. Last 2 weeks of August. Rain or showers. Heaviest in the, that's right, northwest. But towards late August, there is a chance of shorter spells of more settled and warmer weather. Towards late August, there's a greater chance of shorter spells of more settled and warmer weather. We'll take it. Kath from North Wales texts, hey Nick, there's a programme about Kew Gardens on Channel 5 on Wednesday at 7 p.m. I thought you may like it. Like it? I love it. And I haven't even seen it yet. Gary in Suffolk says, we are familiar with the terms first world and third world, but is there a second world? I would ask James O'Brien on his mystery hour, but he's on holiday and I don't want to do any homework. We're quite right too. Yeah, we are in the second world. We've been demoted. We're not quite at third world status yet, but if, recent events continue, then we can't be that far. Eh, Liz?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If she'd just been given a little more time, we'd have been a third world country by now. Sadly, it was a blink and you missed it premiership.
That is a disgrace.
It's the only reason we're still here. I don't think we could have survived another week. And people are still listening to her. That's the amazing thing about this country. They fail and they fail and they fail, and still they win. She has never had it so good.
We have never had it so good.
Right, that's her favourite pronoun now, we. Dean says, hi Nick, how's things going? Yeah, never mind. Heard from Humphrey lately? No. Hope he calls soon. It's past my bedtime. Keep up the good work. Still doing your best. Just still leave me alone. I'm doing my best. Luton. Hello, Adam.
Hey. So this week, I thought of you, as many of us do, you know, hoping you're well.
Yeah.
But I already wrote down a word because I know it's going to be something that I bring up on your Christmas show.
Right.
And it quite alarms me because I know how you always mock hurricane names, being like Hurricane Lucy or Hurricane Enid.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard the word global boiling, I actually was quite terrified. My eye burst out my head. It's like global warming sounds quite nice considering we live in a cold country. But global boiling actually sounds like something we used to do in like...
Yeah, that doesn't sound...
It sounds like a torture.
It doesn't sound like anything good, yeah.
Absolutely not. Like, you know, last year when it hit 40 degrees, I generally was quite terrified in London when it was that hot. And
well, I was sitting, minding my own affairs out the back, enjoying a refreshment.
Booze.
And I do remember that from 1 minute to the next, the temperature seemed to go up about 10 degrees. And even I thought, wow, this is too hot for me. And it drove me inside.
Well, I stupidly got so worried that I actually bought aircon. Little did I know that Ukraine would have a war and my electricity bills would force me not to be able to turn it on.
Right.
But now with this global boiling, I think we need to, like, you know, I think they've really they've heard your calls to stop calling things sweet little names.
Right.
And, like, really give it people serious. Because Nick Ferrari
no messing
is
about.
Worried.
Yeah.
You know it's serious.
Global boiling, Adam, mostly caused by people buying air conditioning units. Thanks a lot, mate. You've ruined the planet. Cheers, Adam. 0345 6060 973. Ipsos survey this week. Survey says 3 in 4 Britons think climate change is a serious global threat. 3 in 4. Which makes you wonder about the minds of the other 25%. I mean, warning bells are ringing all over the world. And a minority of dunderheads and delusionists and numbskulls who claim to have done their own research by looking at their Facebook feed or remembering from their school days that plants need CO2. So, you know, any amount of it is okay. Those people that do their research by looking up the temperatures at the top of mountains, compare them to those at the bottom of mountains, and conclude that it's the height that's at fault. Air pressure increases as the more you go up. So the fault of this global catastrophe is actually air pressure. Someone should shoot it. I actually read that in the comment section of one of these stories about holiday destinations burning up in the Mail this week. That was the one of the most liked comments. I measured the temperature at the top of a mountain and I compared it to the temperature at the bottom of the mountain and concluded that it's air pressure. Nothing more than that. Morons. We're surrounded by morons. I mean, most of the comments on these stories were like that. It's just weather, or it's the sun burning hotter. I think somebody called me in last week on this show and said that. Nothing we can do, it's the sun that's got hotter. Simple as that. I've done my research. Or it's magnets. The magnetosphere that is depleted, so more of the sun's rays come in. Nothing we can do about that. Or, you know, there's the ones that think that climate change is a plot by wind turbine manufacturers to steal the money from the helpless oil conglomerates. You know, those people. Of the 30 hottest days ever recorded, 21 have occurred this month. What? This month. 21 this month. Temperatures in July this month, in this year rather, could well be the highest for 120,000 years. And this story is about the 69th most important story on the Daily Mail website and hasn't even been mentioned by the Sun, the super soaraway Sun, ironically. And those bells of warning get louder. And the deniers have to shout ever louder to drown them out. I mean, I really do wonder why people who know nothing about science are so convinced that they have found a truth that has eluded all scientists. I mean, how arrogantly deluded can you be? Do you wonder about those people? It just blows my mind. You know, if Einstein came back and started talking about relativity, he'd get howled down by mouth breathers yelling that there's no such thing because they read it on Facebook. I'm amazed there isn't an anti-gravity group who don't believe in it because they can't see it. I mean, would you be surprised if there was a Tory backbench gravity research group who deny its existence?
I don't know anything.
I believe you. He'd be the head. And Mr. Potato Head, who wasn't trained to lose, would be his right-hand man.
My view.
Yeah. These are the people we're being run by. Is it any wonder this country is in such a state?
No.
With extreme heat waves raging across Europe, Asia and North America. Here, there and everywhere, baby. Scientists say this month is virtually certain to be the hottest ever recorded. Possibly the warmest in the last 120,000 years. Worldwide temperature readings of the air and sea, as well as losses of Antarctic sea ice, have all smashed previous records this summer, while wildfires are currently ripping through Greece and other parts of the Mediterranean. Wherever that is. Experts say fossil fuel use is to blame for the extreme heat that has July on track to be the warmest ever by a significant margin. Non-experts, who you would have to think are being manipulated by the fossil fuel companies and their paid lobbyists and politicians and their enabling press barons, have their own facts. Everyone's got their own facts. I'll say it again, of the hottest 30 days ever recorded, 21 of them have been during this month. And last year was also the hottest ever in the UK. That is according to the Met Office, using science, which doesn't apply to you if you don't believe in science. A study published earlier this month estimates that more than 61,000 people died across Europe last year because of the heat. More than 3,000 of whom were in the UK. Many countries are prioritising fossil fuel subsidies over public health. It's their number one priority.
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
Fishy would counter that, they don't. They don't prioritise fossil fuel subsidies over public health, and that would be just another lie tossed around on the mountain-sized pile of lies that we've been assailed with for years. Ain't that right, Bodge?
Read my lips, we will not be raising taxes on income or VAT or national insurance.
He lied. But the truth, the actual truth, is that this UK government has given £80 billion of your money in support to fossil fuel producers since 2015. 80 billion, not million, billion, in support to fossil fuel producers since 2015. They pour your money into the arms of the world's richest companies while telling you that they're not doing it. Liar! It's just incredible. And the amount is going up. Up. Think about that. As fossil fuel companies earn ever greater profits, the government is taking your taxes and giving them even more money.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
It has. Unless it's just me. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
I think he's portraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
Thanks, Bodge. You're the best. You're the second best, worst Prime Minister ever. Martin texts, Nick, did you watch the conference at the Congress on UFOs? The conference at Congress on UFOs. They're here. Let's hope when they take over, is it me or is it him? Shall I start that again?
No.
Martin says, did you watch the conference at Congress on UFOs? They're here. Let's hope when they take over there is less Ed Sheeran and Cardi B and more ELO. Smooth Chill will be the mandatory radio station. And this says, has Nigel Farage, the mirage of Farage of being a pint-sipping man of the people, gone? Well, if anybody actually believed that, the pint-sipping man of the people, was anybody daft enough to actually believe that?
I'm a nutcase.
Apart from maybe him. More at home, I would suggest sipping champagne at the Savoy than sipping a pint for photographers at the local pub. 0345 6060 973. Imagine throwing your toys out your pram because the King's Bank won't have you as a customer. God, I mean, really, it's just so. Where is it? Oh, there it is. That's what it is. It's exactly what that is. Woolwich, hello, Richard.
Oh, hi, Nick. Hi. Cold, damp, freezing Woolwich. I mean,
yeah.
Nick, you reading the weather, it's the highlight of the week, but it also depresses the hell out of me.
I can't stand it anymore.
Exactly. What's gone on? I mean, there's so much in the news, topical stuff, but every conversation with every colleague and friend and family member is just about this horrible weather we're having.
Terrible. Worst summer ever.
And, you know, it's like that nasty European superstate just over the channel. Glorious weather.
I know. Yeah, thank goodness we're out. Now we don't have to suffer warmth. It's the EU getting back at us. That's what this weather is. They're being mean to us because they lost Brexit and we won, you know, with all the benefits and all.
Yeah, so here we are in this cold, damp cul-de-sac of Europe, you know, and it's dreadful. But I don't want to put a downer on your show. But
I think that's too late, Richard. A little bit too late for that. It's already happened. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Doesn't want to put a downer. Well, if he'd said that right at the beginning, then I could have saved 5 minutes. Jim says, Nick Robust. Nick Robust, ? What does that mean? Well, maybe if I read the rest of it, I'll find out. Stupid. Jim texts, Nick, robust? ? Have you noticed that everything the government does at the moment is done at pace? Yeah. Everything is their number one priority as well.
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
Yeah. You're a terrible actor, Fishy Sunak. I don't believe a single solitary word you say on any subject. I gave you the benefit of the doubt for a little while because, you know, the hair and those puppy dog eyes. Isn't he an absolute dream? But then I started to take notice of what you were actually saying, and it seemed to be the opposite of the truth at every given moment. I mean, at least we expected it from Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
But I was initially a little surprised at the lack of truth dropping from the moist lips of our current Premier. But now I've got used to it. And it's just it's a little bit disappointing, especially from somebody who announced himself like this.
This government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability at every level.
No, at no levels. 0 levels of accountability, integrity and whatever the other one was. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Anyway, there's more. Jim says, Nick, robust? Have you noticed that everything the government does at the moment is done at pace? Is Bruce Forsyth, in fact, still with us, alive and well, and working at Conservatives? See, I haven't said anything yet today, and so my mouth is not working at the speed of my brain. Is Bruce Forsyth, in fact, still with us, alive and well, and working at Conservative Central Office as a scriptwriter? What's that got to do with Bruce Forsyth? Bruce Forsyth didn't used to write his own scripts, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, he says, can we expect Jeremy Hunt to be saying things like, these are too long. These need editing, a little bit of editing, like the barrier over which they have to leap to get to me is set too low. Raise it a little bit. Other than that, you're doing a terrific job. 0345 6060 973. East Yorkshire, hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick, how are you?
I am great, mate.
Good. Yeah, tomorrow's a bit of a sort of headline day, and I just wanted to remind you, it's 50 days since Marion Doris announced that she was resigning with immediate effect.
Oh, yeah, resigning with immediate effect.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's been great knowing you. Actually, it hasn't, but, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
And one of the councils in her constituency wrote to her, and it quite startled me. Yes. She hasn't held a constituency surgery since March 2020.
The Flitwick Papers. Yes. Flitwick Town Council.
2020.
I know.
What's she been doing?
Well, they illuminate exactly what it is that she has been doing. This is quite some letter. I loved it. It was the best piece of text I read all week. In fact, it was the only piece of text that I actually agreed with and made me feel happier at the end of it than I was at the beginning. Other than that, Mike, is there anything?
No, not particularly.
No? All right.
There was stuff of Lilly. The only thing was Peter Lilly doing his climate denial stuff. And he kept saying average. And he's saying, well, the rainfall is average, but that is meaningless from a farmer's point of view. If you get a 10-week drought in summer and it kills your crops, if you get a bit more in spring, winter and autumn to level it up...
don't make no never mind. Exactly, yeah. Who are these people that are running this country? You know, as a young person, you do assume that people who achieve high office have something more about them than you do. They're more intelligent, they're more worldly wise, they have a knowledge of things that you can't possibly do. But then you get older and you think, actually, there's just a bunch of chumps who probably failed at every other job going and thought, well, let's do a little bit of politicking, because what else am I good for?
Yeah, I mean, it's madness. And he said, well, it doesn't matter if some bits of the world are a bit warmer, because it's only 2 degrees it's going to warm up. So some bits will be a bit colder. What he doesn't realise is if it's 15 degrees warmer in some bits and 0.1 of a degree colder in other bits, the 0.1 of a degree colder doesn't. But if it's 15 degrees warmer, you get bushfires and everything else carrying on.
I don't think that you're right there, though. I don't think that when you said what he doesn't understand is, I don't think that any of these people that are protesting that climate change is not a thing, are part of the government. I don't think any of them are in any doubt. They know that what they're saying isn't true. It's not that they're ignorant. It's worse than that, Mike. Much worse.
What, they're in the pay of the fossil fuel company?
Well, I mean, what's a nice way of saying evil? I mean, they seem to be not necessarily the person that you just described, because I didn't hear what he said, but climate deniers who are members of the government, this and any other government, or the right-wing press, or lobby groups and so on, who are saying that ignore all of your senses, your eyes, your ears, and your the heat creeping up your skin. To ignore the fact that your shoes are on fire, that climate change is not a thing. You'd have to think that these people aren't stupid enough to actually believe that. They think that members of the public, or just enough members of the public, are just stupid enough to believe that. That's what they're going for. So they're not ignorant, they're evil. They're prioritising their own short-term gain, and to hell with the long-term future for the planet and everybody that's living on it. Because they feel that being wealthy, the consequences of climate change are either going to happen too late for them to actually affect them personally, or they will be able to insulate themselves with hot, delicious money. So it's not ignorance, it's evil. And I'm not sure, not in all cases perhaps, maybe some people are actually ignorant who spout this stuff. But I would suggest that a great number of them are evil, Mike.
That'll do for me.
All right, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, let's Flitwick Town Council. Excellent work, you people of Flitwick Town Council. They've written to Nadine Dorries. Nadine Dorries is an MP. Can you believe that?
No.
No. No, I can't. Not at any point at which she has held the seat of an MP could I believe that that's what she's actually ascended to. So I'll get into that in a minute, and plenty else besides. So much to talk about. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Yeah! Dude! A text from Tom says, what is the point of the ULEZ charge, the ultra-low emission zone charge? Wouldn't it be better to ban non-ULEZ compliant cars altogether? Well, it's less of a ban and more of a nudge, Tom. They're trying to nudge you out of poisoning the air. Ahmed from Leicester says, are MPs allowed to claim for expenses while on summer recess? If no, this is not fair, as in reality they're taking a pay cut while being forced not to work. I don't think you really understand how the system works there, Ahmed. He says, can you please start a GoFundMe page for our hard-working MPs, as I don't want them to suffer like the rest of us. Can I start a GoFundMe page for our hard-working MPs? Well, let me think about that for a second.
No.
Absolutely. Harrow. Jonathan, Harrow.
Good evening, Nick.
Yes, sir.
I would like to apologise because I haven't called you for a few weeks.
No, that's fine by me. Don't you worry about that. You can not call me for a couple of weeks as many times as you like.
Because I've been trying to leave the country, and I'm getting... I wanted to touch on three things, actually, 3 points.
Yeah, you've been trying to leave the country. You've been driving in a straight line and you still haven't found the coast yet.
No, listen to me, because I've been travelling across the country. I've been travelling across the country. There's problems with my visas and things, and I've travelled widely over the past 10 years, and to be honest with you...
Wait a minute. Yeah. When you say that you've got problems with your visas and thingies, what do you mean by thingies?
Disgusting.
Nothing that we don't want to hear about, I hope.
Well, no, it's nothing dodgy, actually.
Carry on.
But I genuinely, actually, last night, the night before, I'm getting such... it's oppressive, this country's economy now. The whole country has fallen apart.
Yes.
And I met a friend of mine who is the friend of quite a well-known Pakistani political family. And I was in London and I had a sirloin steak. And because I told you I got rid of a cleaner and my finances are teetering. And, one sirloin steak and chips is £32.50 in London.
Yeah, well, never mind about that. Think about how the cow feels.
And the one gin and tonic is £15.
£15 for a gin and tonic?
Booze.
Where was that?
It was in the London, actually.
In the London. Right, well, that explains it.
Because I voted the Brexit, and I don't want to be racist.
But
no, the Eastern European workers they're all quite polite and hardworking, because this morning I was at the mother's flat. Not at my house, I was at mother's flat.
Mother's flat.
And I had an Englishman. He come to do the electric, and very surly attitude, and he actually got very angry because he actually kicked Mother Sipper.
Hang on a minute. He kicked your mother's what?
He was like, no, did all of this, charge me, and then when he was leaving, he kicked Mother Sipper.
He kicked your mother's...
Slipper.
Slipper.
Yeah.
He kicked your mother's slipper. Was your mother still wearing it?
No, it was in the hallway.
In the hallway, right.
I think he might have been a racist, but I looked at him, gave him a strong look.
One of your patented stares, yes.
Because all of the Eastern European, the hard workers, the good workers, they've all left.
Well, that's because we yelled at them to get out of our country for 5 years straight, after which they did.
After voting Brexit, I voted for the Brexit Party.
Yeah, and how's that working out for you?
I don't regret nothing.
Wait a minute, you don't regret nothing, so you do regret it?
No, listen to me, because this country
I'm listening to you.
Everything is, oh my God, it is so, I can't swear, so can I say the C word, C-R-A?
No.
Okay. It is so terrible, it is rubbish.
Right, well, it's because of people like you, Jonathan, who refuse to apologise. Where's this apology that I've heard so much about?
No, because I wanted to quickly touch on an issue of role models and the Farage very quickly.
Role models and Nigel Farage. Well, OK, this will be interesting. I can't imagine the two fit well in the same thought, but go ahead.
Because like this early English, I woke up at 7 a.m. this morning for this electric.
Yeah. Well, I woke up this morning. Yeah.
And I think the kiddies, they need good role models. I mean, he wasn't a kiddie. He's a nasty piece of work. The kiddies need, no, it's true. I was very angry. They need good role models, like the ginger boy who plays the guitar, the Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, Prince Harry, yeah.
No, and then also there's, and even if you're not a football follower, you will...
What was that?
Even if you're not...
Hang on, no. Before you said that, there was a noise. What was that? You just went...
It is indigestion.
Oh, right. You were making a... right, there was like a personal expellation of air.
Disgusting.
Really?
Because after my international financial matters, I'm now having to do the budget shopping, and I got the chronic diarrhea because you asked me.
Please don't tell me which shop you bought your food at. I'm begging you not to do that.
But on the role model issue, for example, even if you're not a football fan, there's a young, very handsome black man who plays football for the Manchester United.
You forgot to say, before you introduced this handsome black man, that you're not gay, but...
Michael Radcliffe.
Michael Radcliffe?
Yeah, he did the James O'Brien talk about him. He did the free school meal thing. No, Marcus Radcliffe.
Oh, Michael. Oh, that Michael Radcliffe. Yeah.
Martha Radcliffe.
Martha Radcliffe, right. Mm-hmm.
You need people like this because, for the first time, I was in Croydon 2 nights ago. All of the Eastern European hard workers have left. So I actually just in the middle of in the evening, I was sweating after the sirloin steak. I feel such tension and anxiety. I started jogging on the street.
You started whatting on the street?
I was doing a run.
Oh, you were running. Right. I thought you said something else.
Because the Croydon, no, I'm not a racist.
But get out of there as soon as possible if I were you.
No, because immigration, if you say people like me, we want to pull the drawbridge up. But immigration, if there is too many people from too many corners of the world, it is like a continuous stream of noise just hitting your head. Do you have any idea what that feels like?
Yes, Jonathan, I do. I've just been speaking to you for the last 10 minutes. But it's been a delight. 0345 6060 973. That was almost too perfect a setup. Is he a real person or am I hallucinating? Or both? Could be both. That was almost too good a setup. This stream of noise hitting your head. Do you have any idea what that's like? No. I mean, how can I resist that? 0345 6060 973. I tell you what, I might put that on my best of. I mean, that might seem lazy of me because I normally trawl the years gone by for the best of take that comes out on Monday. But and I do think that it might be the second time in recent memory that I've put a call from him on my best of. But I think I'm going to do it. Who's going to stop me? You? It's a podcast, by the way. It comes out on Monday. It's called what's it called? It's called The Nick Abbot Habit.
Affirmative.
The Nick Abbot Habit. It's on Global Player, by the way. If you have got Global Player, then, get you with your fancy apps. But if you haven't, then you can get it for free from your favourite app store, Global Player, or go to globalplayer.com. And all of the podcasts that I do will become apparent if you log into that app and type my name in there. All three of them will become apparent as though by magic. And the one that I'm talking about is called the Nick Abbot Habit. If you've got one of them stupid smart speakers, just say, "Oi, play the Nick Abbot Habit," or I'll throw you out the window. That will teach it. 0345 6060 973. Erith. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Nick. Sorry, loudspeaker off.
There we are.
Right, thank you for having me. Following up on what you were saying and about this climate change, yesterday or the day before they was discussing it in Parliament, and the lady said about how it's killing people. The deaths are getting quite high.
Yeah.
And I forget his name, but the Tory man replied with, "Yeah, but hypothermia is going down." worldwide hyper. Yeah, I really. Even she was stunned by it.
Yeah, this wasn't David Lord Frost, was it? That bloke who looks like a candle that's been left near the fire.
I can't remember because it was on the radio.
It was on the radio, right? So no visuals then. Somebody should invent a radio with visuals. You know, like a radio, but with a screen where you can see what's happening on the radio. Why hasn't somebody invented that?
Maybe they will one day.
Maybe they will one day. Well, fingers crossed. All right. Thanks for the spy report, Steve. Excellent work there, that man. 0345 6060 973. I think it was that David Frost bloke, that melting candle. Why the hell is anybody listening to what that bloke says? He's the bloke who negotiated our leaving the European Union. He's the bloke who's behind this blooming Brexit deal that is dragging us down like an anchor. He's supposed to have given us some like armbands and a life preserver. But he actually just chucked us an anvil. We're sinking down to the bottom of the sea with it. And yet still people are listening to him. He's got a blooming column in the Telegraph, for crying out loud. He hauls himself to his feet and pontificates on all sorts of matters. In the House of Lords, if you please. We are paying him to tell us about the things that he doesn't know about for the rest of his life. He has a job forever, paid for by us. That guy. You know, maybe I should just take a break from the news, because lately it's just becoming a bit overwhelming. You know? I mean, it's just so bad, so unremittingly awful. The people that are running this country are so dismally awful. I'm beginning to reach the end of my tether. I don't think I can stand it anymore. I need a holiday. 0345 6060 973. I actually need a holiday from these people. We all do. But we can't have one. not for probably like another year or so. Still, mustn't grumble.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
I am not one of your fans!
Wadge tweets, still waiting for the rain, Nick. Oh, it'll be with you soon, Wadge. Don't matter where you are. This one says, Nick, can I use my hosepipe now? With all this rain, I'm not sure. Is half the country still on a hosepipe ban? Well, it seems hard to believe it, but the way the water companies are run, I wouldn't be remotely surprised. Vivia says, Mayor Khan won and I am happy. The Tories used in excess of £1 million of taxpayers' money to challenge this matter in court, and they lost. Talking about the ULEZ thing. It's all about them, not us people.
The little people.
Not leprechauns. They are selfish despots who will say and do anything to stay in power. Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, selfish despots who will do and say anything to stay in power, including using an unlimited amount of our money against us. And the Tories reacting negatively to the ULEZ charge is just absolutely priceless, because it is, of course, Boris Johnson's initial idea.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
When he was the Mayor of London. And then it was insisted upon being implemented in its entirety, including the expansion, which is about to happen, by the Conservative government as a precondition for them bailing out Transport for London, which was on its uppers after the Conservative Party's COVID lockdowns. This government insisted that the London mayor extend the zone. It's in writing. They said, if you want this money, then you're going to have to initiate the ULEZ zone and extend it. The Tories said that. And then they pretended, oh, no, we never said that. There's no evidence that we saw it, that we said it. Apart from the letters of them saying it and the recordings of them saying it. But apart from that, there is no evidence. See, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, and I think that this is the plan. This is certainly the way that Donald Trump acted. And the Conservative Party seemed to think that if they just do whatever Donald Trump would do in any given situation, that is what will lead to great success. And that's what they do. Whatever the issue is, just think, what would Donald Trump do? And that is where they're going. And it just becomes overwhelming, doesn't it? Because you know that you're being lied to. But one part of your brain thinks, well, they can't possibly be lying to me so, straight-facedly in public. They can't possibly be disseminating this much misinformation while talking out loud where people can hear them. That part of your brain still, the part that thinks that people are decent and honest and true is ringing warning bells. You can't possibly be hearing what you are hearing. And then you get a sense of discombobulation in your brain. A dichotomy exists where you think one thing, but you know that the opposite is actually true. And they just wear you down. And eventually you just can't stand it anymore. And you think, oh, to hell with it. Just take all of my money. Set fire to the country. I don't care anymore. Just leave me alone. And at that point, they will have won. Still, mustn't grumble. Yeah, cheer up. It might never Oh, no, that's right. It already has. Let's have Merthyr Tydfil. Jeff.
Oh, Nick.
Jeff.
You haven't mentioned the Senate or House of Congress hearings about UFOs.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised we haven't had that on tonight, because I'm absolutely convinced, and it has confirmed an impression that I've had for a long time, that these... question for you. Do you know what we call around here in this neck of the woods a die 10 past 10? Do you know what one of those are?
A die 10 past 10?
Yeah.
No.
Right. Well, think of a pair of feet at 10 past 10 on the clock, okay? Now, you look for those, a little short, overweight guys with faces like melted candles, okay, like Lord Frost, Marc Francois,
yes.
Okay?
You should watch it when you bring his name up, Jeff, because he was in the army and he wasn't trained to lose.
They look exactly and sound and say things that are out of this planet. Look at Frost. Let's have a little bit of climate warming because I'm cold.
It's cold. He looks as though he has pulled on a human hood over an alien's face, and it doesn't quite fit properly.
And says things out of this planet because they are absolutely idiotic. I'm listening to a lot of the your people who go to Facebook and then pronounce on climate warming, changing, and all that.
Chumps.
And they are what really annoys me. Have you ever heard of a guy called Milankovic? No?
No.
Right. He was a Serb that worked out that the Earth has an elliptical orbit around the sun. A tremendous piece of mathematical deduction. And he worked out there is a cycle of 33,000 and 66,000 years, which is shown in the fossil record, foraminifera in the sea, etc., etc. I won't bore you. But
too late.
Here we are. Now they are using this to say that the Milankovic cycle is just about tipping into another ice age.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. So global warming is an absolute nonsense, right? Now, this is complete and utter nonsense. It's CO2 in the atmosphere. It's not quantum physics.
What I don't understand,
very simple.
What I don't understand about any of these people is why they cling to this belief so hard. What is it about?
Emotion.
Accepting global warming is a thing that makes them so keen to run in the opposite direction. What is it about this, about a subject that they know nothing about, that makes them so certain that they alone are the holders of truth on this issue, and that all other scientists on Earth, apart from a few dinglings and whack jobs on right-wing TV and radio and podcast channels, apart from a small scattering of swivel-eyed loons, pretty much every scientist on the planet thinks one thing, and yet these people who know nothing about science have convinced themselves that they know better. What is it about this subject that makes people so certain in their ignorance that they alone know the truth?
Have you seen that guy, Neil Oliver, the coast guy? Have you seen his eyes? He looks like Charles Manson. He's absolutely convinced that it's a hoax.
Yeah. Right. I would. I mean, not that the looks have really anything about whether you can be taken seriously or not. But if I were him, I would fashion myself to look less like I just stepped out of the background of a scene in Lord of the Rings. And then I would think about what I've previously said and aim to say less of it in the future. All right. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. He does look like a bad wizard. That's all I'm saying. This says, evening, Nick. Have you watched John Wick yet? There's 3 sequels too. Keanu is fab in all of them. I promise you won't be disappointed. If you are, I'll eat my own hair. Well, you anonymous texter, get ready for a meal of tresses. I saw about 10 minutes of the first John Wick, and I thought, this is such nonsense. It was just him killing people. There didn't seem to be a story. Okay, spoiler alert, some bloke killed his dog. And then he decided to kill all of them back. And it was just him going through buildings shooting people. There was nothing other than that to it. It looked like a video game. In fact, was it actually a video game before somebody had the smart idea of making it into a film for teenagers? It looked like an empty vessel to me, and like I said, 10 minutes and I was out. So, I hope that your meal of your own hair is to your liking. Ollie emails, Labour and Khan have ruined London even further for people like me, because now I have to pay £12.50 a day to take my 2006 diesel Jaguar into all London boroughs. Mogg would have reversed such nonsense, but people like you won't give him a chance. Regards, Ollie. Hey, Ollie, why should people in all London boroughs have to breathe the air that comes out the back of your diesel? Huh? Why is it only about you? That is a thing that mystifies me about this whole ULOs thing. People, this is another thing that people have absolutely no knowledge of, but are absolutely furious about the prospect of breathing cleaner air. It's happening in Canterbury as well. The Canterbury circulation. People are furious about that too. You know, the concept of clean air just makes them very, very angry. Why? Why should all of the rest of us have to live in pollution because a few number of people don't like the idea of paying a little bit more to be a polluter? I mean, the majority of the people aren't polluting and they aren't driving polluting cars. That's a vast majority. Only a tiny minority are those that are going to get caught out by this. Why the hell should we have to breathe foul air because of you, small number of people? Ollie, just ask him. 0345, unless that makes me a fascist, by the way, in which case I withdraw it. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Okie dokie.
How are you?
I'm super. Thanks for asking. Ollie emails. No, read that. James says, any chance of some coverage of Nigel Farage's bank account? No updates for at least an hour, says James. Oh, my God. That's just so utterly ridiculous, that whole thing. I mean, one entitled toff has his account removed by the King's Bank, and the entire country goes into meltdown. There's people being debanked all the time, and they get zero coverage from the right-wing press. And he wasn't even debanked. He was offered an account in a lesser bank, NatWest. I mean, it's good enough for most people. Why isn't it good enough for him? Not for our Uncle Nige. Not for man of the people, Uncle Nigel.
I'm a nutcase.
Painful. It is actually excruciating. Rebecca texts, hasn't Nadine Dorries been quiet? I wonder if her daughters have been claiming universal credit since she closed her constituency office, or if they're still benefiting from the expenses she's still claiming. Integrity, accountability and professionalism at every level, eh? Good job Fishy didn't promise honesty. Yeah, that's right. Well, he couldn't fit it into that little speech.
This government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability at every level.
Every level, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Yes, Nadine Dorries has been very, very quiet. Flitwick Town Council is urging its local MP, Nadine Dorries, to quit as an MP immediately, as in right now. Nadine Dorries, MP for Mid-Bedfordshire since she held her seat since 2005. The people of Mid-Bedfordshire knew what they were voting for. She announced her intention to stand down as an MP with immediate effect on the 9th of June this year, but has not formally resigned as of yet. Somebody should send her a dictionary so she can look up the word immediate. The town clerk has sent a letter to the MP stating the following. Following a discussion at the recent meeting of Flitwick Town Council on Tuesday the 18th of July, I have been asked to write to you formally to raise the council's concerns and frustration at the continuing lack of representation for the people of Mid-Bedfordshire and at Westminster. The last time you spoke in the Commons was the 7th of June 2022.
Oh, right, yeah.
2022. You have not maintained a constituency office for a considerable time, and it's widely understood that you have not held a surgery in Flitwick since March 2020.
What?
Rather than representing constituents, the council is concerned that your focus appears to have been firmly on your television show, upcoming book, and political manoeuvres to embarrass the government for not appointing you to the House of Lords. How can you be so self-entitled that you think, based on her CV, that she deserves to spend the rest of her life as a lawmaker on our money in the House of Lords? I mean, does she really think that she's that qualified, or is it that she'd actually just quite like to be in the House of Lords? Yeah, nice. Why can't she have nice things? She was born in Liverpool, you know. Councillors noted, this is the letter, councillors noted that your behaviour, Nadine Dorries' behaviour, widely reported in the press, is not in line with the 7 principles of public life set out by Lord Nolan in 1995. Yeah, well, I think the 7 principles of public life set out by Lord Nolan in 1995 expired when a certain Mr. Blobby reached the top.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, from that moment on, all bets were off. The letter says, with an estimated population of 13,800 people, Flitwick represents the largest concentration of voters in the Mid-Bedfordshire constituency. Flitwick Town Council has a long history of operating on a non-political basis with a strong ethos that our council must represent the views and needs of residents regardless of any party politics. Our residents desperately need effective representation now, and Flitwick Town Council calls on you, Nadine Dorries, to immediately vacate your seat to allow a by-election. Well, we've already established that she doesn't know what the word immediately means, because she said she would stand down with immediate effect bloomin' ages ago. Andy Snape, not a name I made up, that is his actual name, Andy Snape, Flitwick's mayor and town councillor, stated that they are asking Nadine Dorries to do the right thing and move on so the town can have a by-election. He wants Nadine Dorries to do the right thing. Best of luck with that. 0345 6060 973. Sandbats, hello, John.
Excuse me. As a Scouser, she's an embarrassment to Scousers. I mean, when we do good things and we do bad things, but she's the bad.
Like everyone.
Yeah, she's the bad thing. And then there's down the road from here in Sandbats, there's Knutsford. I believe there's another Scouser who's the MP for Knutsford, who used to have a big gob. Is she still an MP?
Who's that?
The Conservatives. I don't know, but she's got a big gob.
Right, well, I don't know either, but it sounds about right, yeah. But that doesn't really nail it down for us, though. Got a big gob. No idea.
I think she was in with Johnson and that crowd.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but she's taking a back seat, so to speak.
In with the out crowd, yeah.
Yes, in with the out crowd, but she's probably still drawing the money for being an MP.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, if all the crooks aren't in jail, are they?
No, the crooks in this country don't go to jail. They go to the House of Lords. Exactly. Almost all of them. Almost, yeah. All right, thanks a lot, John. As Michael Gove said...
Calm down.
He actually did say that. I don't know what he was on at the time, but he was highly animated on that early morning television programme. Perhaps he'd been up all night in a business meeting. Oh, I love dancing, me. Are you dancing? That would have been a news story.
A major capital letters, big news story.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe he'd overdosed on porridge that morning. Something like that, I bet. Yeah, I'm on about, 3 or 4 bowls of porridge a day now, man, but I can take it. I'm just feeling a bit hyper at the moment, that's all. Rebecca says, hasn't Nadine Dorries been quiet? Have I read this? Oh, no, yeah, I've read that one. Keep reading the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Martin says, there's nothing funnier than listening to a Trumpster climate change denier spouting nonsense and you chip in with, it must be the Dunning-Kruger effect. They look at you with a self-satisfied smirk, thinking they are scientists. There are scientists somewhere that support their stupidity. I'll try that one out. Air pressure. Magnets in the stratosphere and air pressure is what's it. It's not CO2. Yeah, it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. And they think, yeah, that's right, Dunning-Kruger, yeah. Bromley, Aisling.
Hi, Nick.
Aisling.
Hello, how are you?
Great, mate.
Good. I just thought I'd call in and I wanted to get your opinion on why do you think they care so much about discrimination all of a sudden when it comes to Farage's bank account?
Because it's him.
Exactly. It's quite ridiculous, isn't it?
He has the right-wing press in his pocket, and they shout louder than anyone. So it's just been on and on and on and on about that. Did you know that what's her name? She called me the other day. Gina Miller, the activist. She's had her bank account closed. Is Nigel Farage whining about that?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
He debanked. People are dehomed every day. I mean, people discriminated against for so many reasons. I mean, they don't seem to, what was it, the Treasury clamped down on people's bank accounts being closed. Why can't they clamp down on stopping people renting a place because they have a dog?
Correct.
Or because, you know, or because they are on benefits or whatever. Oh, it's just so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. And I don't know if you saw Newsnight when Farage was on, but
again?
he was so rude. It was one of the nights this week, but he was so rude. If he was shaking his hand like that at me, I don't know what I would do. Run for cover. It was just unbelievable. His finger was wagging at Victoria and the other guest. He's just so arrogant and just so entitled, and he just gets on my nerves so much.
Yeah, this man of the people stick that he's got going on, that was blown out of the water by the news that he banks with the King's Bank, the Royal Bank, the bank of billionaires, Coots. And I bet he was just slightly irritated that fact came out. And then from that came everything else. He also did not appeal to his sense of self-worth that he was offered an account with an ordinary bank, for crying out loud. He could have just said yes, and we wouldn't have heard another word about it.
Yeah, exactly. He's just so frustrating. But what else was I going to say? I was going to say as well, the man who was on last night was Lord Lilly, I think, who had said about the people dying of cold, denying climate change. But it's just so frustrating.
Did he really say that, Lord Lilly? He came on this station and he said that climate change, global warming, is okay because it'll be nice and warm out, or words to that effect. Did he?
He said, yeah. If you listen on Catch Up, he had a whole
crying out loud. No, I couldn't possibly bring myself to do that.
Yeah. But he said as well, like, yeah, but we said 2 degrees, and he was going on about how it's only 2 degrees, and it's just weather, and it was quite shocking actually. But it was Lord Peter Lilly, I think it was his name. But yeah, it was crazy.
So he is another one of these people that has a job for life, doing nothing at our expense, making laws that will affect us personally. That guy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think you asked, why do none of them care all of a sudden about, all of a sudden ever, about ULEZ or anything like that? Because they don't have to breathe that air. They can go wherever they want. They can go out to, and it's all this coming at once, and it's packing people to the cities. And the dog whistles are flying lately as well. It's driving me insane.
Aisling, just wait. We're a way out from the next general election.
No,
this is just the foothills. It's going to get way worse than this.
And what's scary is that there are so many people who will just completely fall for it. Completely.
There are just enough people who are dumb enough to fall for this obvious electioneering. Yeah, that's what they're counting on. But unfortunately for them, that number is diminishing because they don't have the Brexit thing to fight on, and they don't have Mr. Blobby to do the fighting for them.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
So they're now reduced to, as 30p Lee Anderson said on TV just recently, what they're going to fight the next election on is woke issues and or the woke stuff and trans issues. That is what the next election is going to be fought on. But forget that your house has just burst into flames, or that millions of people are starving to death in Africa because the rains came too much, or the rains came not at all, and all of this stuff. Just forget all about that. What we're going to be concentrating on are gender-neutral toilets.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that Farage's whole ordeal got so much attention, because the thrown around this term woke capitalism. That's why, because they know they're going to get exactly who they want with that word.
How asinine is that to say that banks are lefty? I mean, for crying out loud, how far to the right do you have to be to think that the banking racket is from the left? Here, Aisling, I've got to go, but thanks for that. Yeah, I agree. It's just becoming a bit too much. But like I said, just wait, because this is nothing. Oh, it's going to be coming at us like what's an example? Like you're in the trenches in Ukraine, it'll be coming at us. This is the calm period before the storm. They're going to ramp it up so much you won't believe it. We will never go through, we will never have gone through a political period like we're about to experience, because they're taking all of the cues from the Republican Party, and the Republican Party know no rules. They know no bounds. They will win at any cost. They don't care about anything else but the maintenance of power. And that's where we are with this lot now, for the first time, I think, in the history of this country. Up to this, even when it was him.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And you knew that every time he opened his mouth, he was telling you something that wasn't true. You knew that, but he was kind of likeable, and he would go a certain way and not any further. But I think that all bets are off now that Mr. Integrity has taken over.
This government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability at every level.
Yeah, I think that that sort of nice persona that he tries to fashion really hides something much darker than that. I think darker than we probably ever had running this country. And the period that we're about to go through up to the next election, because they now are looking at the uncomfortable position of losing. So we ain't seen nothing yet. Prepare yourself, people, because it's about to get very, very bad indeed. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
A big sack of monkey nuts.
That's what this country is, a big sack of monkey nuts. Ashford, Milan.
Hey, Nick.
How you doing?
You all right?
Yes, good, thanks.
Do you know what? I don't know what the moaning's going on about, because just before I tell you what I've been phoning in about, but Coots have taken back control. Like you can't just moan and moan because the decision's been made. They're frustrated. Farage is trying to frustrate the will of the management board. They made a decision. He needs to stop whining about it and just accept the decision.
The thing that I pointed out last week, that was then pointed out by somebody else, was that the very same people that are complaining that Nigel Farage can't bank with the billionaire's bank Coots anymore, who are complaining that a company has decided who it wants to do business with, are the same people that think that a company should be able to deny the business of those who it doesn't agree with or find palatable, like the gay cake-making people. It's the same crowd that are furious that a bank has decided who they want as a customer, that say that that cake shops should be able to decide not to have a customer who just happens to be gay, because, you know, that's what Jesus wants.
Yeah, and do you know what? There are two separate issues. One is the rules of the bank. If you don't meet a certain criteria, then you don't qualify for being banked there. Separately was the mind-numbingly stupid decision to speak to a BBC reporter, but that's separate to the banking rules.
Yeah,
I mean, but there you go. Just before I tell you about what film I saw yesterday.
Oh, I bet I know.
On the edge of your seat, I was going to talk about all the furore about Jordan Henderson and Gerrard, and saying, "Oh, how dare they go to Saudi Arabia? How have their careers there and everything?" I think, hold on a minute. Guess how much the UK has done trade with Saudi Arabia last year alone? Just last year,
$7 billion.
Not bad, 17 billion.
Oh, 17, okay. Most of it was, I would imagine, exciting ways to kill people that are currently being dropped on children in Yemen.
Yemen, yeah, exactly. And, of course, Newcastle United is backed by the Saudi government as well. Hardly anyone shouts at that. But then when it comes to Jordan Henderson or Steven Gerrard, it's almost like thou shalt not do anything wrong, but forget the government contracts with Saudi. I just don't get that mindset at all.
Well, it's the same mindset that says that footballers should not talk about politics, that also says that footballers shouldn't do anything that's politically questionable. Well, pick one. Which is it? They either are political animals and can say and speak their mind just like anybody else, or they should never talk about politics or act in accordance with their political beliefs.
Yeah, it's just infuriating, and I think Mohammed bin Salman is going to be coming to the UK soon.
Yeah, red carpet treatment. Red carpet treatment. Yeah, that's exactly right. The Qataris own more of London than the King does. So, pretty much every building that you have, that you know a nickname for in London, every tall building that is known by a nickname is owned by the Qataris. All of them.
Yeah, and before the World Cup, there was always furore about certain broadcasters going out there and certain businesses and so on. And I was thinking, hold on a minute. In May last year, did Johnson shake hands with the Qatari Premier to do a trade agreement? So I think if you feel that strongly, why don't you just look to the government? It's just weird hypocrisy. Yeah. But it distracts people from what's actually happening. So
yes.
all the distraction.
Exactly.
Technique.
Yeah.
Which goes back to your original point. Remember you saying that why the government are behaving like this? They can behave like this because people are easily conned, and it's demonstrated the last few years. And then that's a fact.
People are gullible, and because the Tories have the might of the right-wing offshore billionaire press behind them, they can do and say pretty much anything, and people will be beaten into submission to actually believe the untruths that they're saying. They can say anything because they know they're going to be backed up by their enablers who will crush us into acquiescing.
Yeah, if I was part of the cabinet and worried about what's happening, if I was an advisor, I'd be like, well, what have you done in the last few years? You've misled, you've lied. Why don't you just do the same thing? Because there's still a good portion of the public who are quite frankly, okay, it's going to sound a bit controversial. Okay, there's a good portion of the public who are mind-numbingly ignorant.
Yes.
Or
there's worse than that. They're not just ignorant, because that's understandable. If you're ignorant of something, that just means you don't know anything about it. It's worse than that. They are determinedly ignorant. They refuse to learn anything about it. They jump to a conclusion that fits their biases and then dig their heels in and repel any new information that comes their way. It's absolutely maddening.
Because to admit defeat would mean to admit that
loss of face.
Nick is completely right, James O'Brien. So the film I saw, I have a guess.
Well, it was Oppenheimer.
No.
Oh. The Bride of Oppenheimer?
No. Mission Impossible. Have you seen it?
Oh, yes, I have. Yeah.
And what do you think?
I thought, good for Tom Cruise. That is excellent value for money. How could you possibly want somebody of his age to put himself through more than that for $9.99? I thought on coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing the next one straight away.
I thought it was okay. I fell asleep about 15 minutes in the middle of it, in the club scene, but I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was like a 10 out of 10, which I thought was led to believe. I thought it was more of an 8 out of 10, but amazing scenes in there, like the stunts and whatnot.
Well, don't tell anybody about it, because, no spoilers.
No spoilers, no.
I thought it was a bit churlish to actually want more than what you actually got. Okay, so it wasn't you're right, it wasn't Apocalypse Now or... it wasn't a 10 out of 10 movie. It wasn't The Godfather or anything like that. But for an action movie, it beat the pants off anything that the Bond franchise has put out for years.
True. And although I might have been annoyed because I had to tell the couple of ladies behind me to shut up because they insisted on providing a commentary after every scene. And I kept saying, it is not a cinema. Is not your front room.
Yeah.
It's a cinema.
People don't know how to act now. They just don't know how to act because nobody tells them that they're doing something wrong. And so when you tell them, taking your life in your hands, Milan, then they receive this appropriation. They receive this telling off as with stunned amazement. They just can't believe it. I would imagine their response was not being able to believe that they've just been told off.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
The masses are asses, Milan. Never go to the cinema in the evening. I bet that was the mistake you made.
I went in the afternoon. Never. And I think I know the answer to this question before I go. Have you seen Barbie?
No.
No. I don't do that.
No. Let me reiterate.
No.
No, I have zero interest in seeing Barbie. Oppenheimer, on the other hand, I would like to go and see. But I looked at the IMAX showings, and you can't get a seat. It's completely sold out. 9 o'clock in the morning, it's sold out. Who's going to the cinema at 9 in the morning? Absolutely packed. It is incredible. All right, thanks a lot, Milan. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Oh, hello.
0345 6060 973. This text says, my favourite Einstein quote, 2 things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not yet sure about the universe. Liverpool, hello, David.
Hi, Nick. You're on Champions League form tonight. It's been terrific. I wanted to mention Uncle Nige, but just before Nige, Nadine Dorries.
Yeah.
I mean, like another guy said before, I mean, we haven't helped ourselves in this city over the years, you know. I mean, it's obvious we've shot ourselves in the foot over things, but this woman is a total embarrassment. She is. She's a bomb pot.
If only she would stop saying that she comes from Liverpool so much, then the good people of Liverpool wouldn't have to be so embarrassed.
It is embarrassing. And when she talks about poverty, I was born 5 weeks before the end of the Second World War, and she talks about poverty. Her generation, she wouldn't know the meaning of it. But you know, I just think she's a total embarrassment, and it's about time she decided what she was going to do, whether she was leaving or not. I mean, I don't understand it, but
I mean, I wouldn't be able to show myself in public after if I had said, right, that's it, I'm leaving right now, and then I just stuck around like a bad smell. I'd be too embarrassed to show my face.
But Nigel Farage, I mean, what annoys me, he kicks off, first of all, about what's happened, Coots and all the rest of it. And then he wants apologies, people dismissed.
Yeah.
Then the whole board dismissed.
Yes.
And I think to myself, you know, well, perhaps you can take a little advice of that advice himself.
Yeah.
Do you remember the 350 million on the side of the bus?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Brexit.
Well, he promised that he would leave this country if Brexit was a failure.
Yeah.
By his own admission, Brexit is a failure, and yet he's still here.
That's right.
Him and Nadine.
That's right. And he says to people, oh, no, and then when he was challenged, oh, no, that wasn't my idea.
Yeah.
That was Boris Johnson you know, and I mean, it would be nice one day that he admitted he got things wrong, like the bank's done. And, you know, what he's done, he's told us that he's got a few bob, hasn't he? And, you know, so he won't be running about paying the gas and the electric. But
he was making videos for like happy birthday videos for people on the internet a little while ago. Wow, that must really pay a huge amount if you can afford a bank at Coots, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but you know, I just when that judgment came through about Sadiq Khan this afternoon, right away, some of these right-wing so-called television news programmes. I got on the programme at 6:30 to talk to a guy, and he was brilliant. And I said what you said. The Tories pushed this through. It was Johnson, and then the rest of them pushed, you know.
Grant Shapps signed the letter to the Mayor of London saying you can have money for propping up transport for London after the COVID lockdowns decimated public transport, but only if you expand the ULEZ zone to the outer boroughs. It was the Tories insisting on it, and then they and then they had the nerve to use £1 million of our money to fight the thing that they wanted.
That's right. And then the same now, you know, jumping for joy. I mean, that guy who held on to Boris Johnson's old seat, you know, rubbing his hands and saying, "Oh, thank you very much to." You know, the Mayor of London, that's, you know, for helping me to stay here. But people, I can't believe it. They went right for his throat, some of these right-wing people. And, you know, that's the thing. You know, it was their policy they pushed.
Yeah.
And usually they say, it doesn't matter what colours, you know, you are. You're the Mayor of London, so and so, so and so. You should push through what the government of the day have said. You know, to be a decent mayor, you've got to be.
Well, you've got to act in the interests of your people, and cleaning the air in London is in the interests of the vast majority of people who like breathing. It is not in the interests of a very, very small number of people who, for whatever reason, drive polluting vehicles. Why should the rest of us suffer because of those people?
Exactly.
All right, thanks a lot, David. 0345 6060 973. It's just excruciating, isn't it? And so just in order to lighten the mood, just a little bit, I'm going to have to play you this.
I'm immensely grateful to you for everything you've done in British politics over the last few years. I used to be an ardent Remainer. I voted Remain. I believed in the European project. Mm-hmm. I believed that staying in the European Union was the best thing for us. And then something happened, and something monumental happened. It completely changed my opinion on the whole situation.
What was that monumental thing, Mark?
I was kicked in the head by a horse.
Right, very good. Okay, fine. Thank you.
No, thank you. 0345 6060 973. You know, when it's all getting a bit too much and you think that you just can't stand it anymore, and that these people are winning, just remember that. Just remember that what we're dealing with here is a confederacy of dunces. 0345 6060 973. Let's see. Dollar. Ellie.
Hello.
Ellie.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
Yeah, you sound great. You could sound great most weekends, actually.
Thanks.
You know, you were saying it was getting you all down.
Yes.
You should take a break just for a couple of nights or something. Come to Scotland. There's a bit more sanity here.
I do believe that that's true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You did live here.
I did.
And perhaps one day you might move back, because they're now, on this point, Americans that have wealth for leisure and now have bought the first village, the whole village in Perthshire.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I'm deviating. But and bits of Scotland again, sold to every Tom, Dick and Harry, basically. And one can understand why. The only benefit to not being fried alive in every other part of the world is that we're in the wet zone here.
Yes.
So as in, that heat is so oppressive, I don't think anyone can handle it. And perhaps we aren't missing out that much.
Well, I don't know. A happy medium between where Greece is right now and where we are. Wouldn't that be lovely? If we could wake up and it was in the mid-70s, something like that, instead of 65.
If it keeps on going as it is, Nick, it's going to get there quicker, sooner than we thought.
Yeah.
You know, we will be like the Mediterranean, won't we? The problem is,
I'm not sure.
The frying up at the moment means there's going to be a war of food, because what are we going to be eating at the end of the year? That is my worry. So, you have the plague and now you have the pestilence coming in here because one way or the other, I don't think there's going to be enough to go round. Do you?
Plague or pestilence? That's what that's our selection. We have to choose between one or the other.
Farage,
I'll have pestilence.
We call him Farage.
Right.
We don't call him Farage. We call him Farage.
Farage rhymes with garage.
The trouble with that guy is by being as he is, he's basically brought this whole country to its knees, because if it hadn't been him that kicked off about the EU and the laws and this, that and the other,
then no one would have been bothered.
Would never have been in this state.
No.
What a bloody cheek this guy's got.
Yeah, to still be here insisting that he would have left if Brexit had been a failure. By his own admission, it's a failure, and yet he's still here. All right, thanks a lot, Ellie. 0345 6060 973. This text says, if the Earth is now experiencing global boiling, then why is that phrase? I mean, that's just an open goal for a climate change denier, isn't it? And they're going to be concentrating on that phrase forever now. Oh, well, global boiling, what does he mean by that? Oh, and then there'll be guffaws in the studio by the usual selection of numpties and deniers. Global boiling. That's not a good phrase. Because it gives them another chance to say the same things to a different headline. If we just stuck with the same thing, then their arguments would have been, by repetition, would have become less persuasive. But now they can go on about, global boiling. Do you hear what he said? So that wasn't wise. But anyway, it says, this text says, if the Earth is now experiencing global boiling, then why is space exploration not suspended or even stopped? Well, I agree. If not for the reasons that you were thinking. I mean, I'm reading between the lines, but I assume that you're saying that space exploration is polluting, so why don't we stop that? But I would suggest that the people who are space exploring at the minute used to be the kind of person, billionaires, that used to do things philanthropically. You know, they'd open a library or a shelter for the homeless or a wing on an art gallery or something like that. Just any kind of building, as long as they could chisel their name on the side of it. But now they don't. Now billionaires are competing with each other to see who's got the biggest rocket. It's pathetic. Julia says air pressure decreases the more you go up, not increases, as there is less weight to the air column pressing down on you. Wow. Blown my mind. Groovy. He says, just thought it's worth being accurate on the science. Fortunately, Julius, I don't believe in science. If you're wondering, what was he talking about? That was in reference to something that happened a while ago on this show, which, by the way, almost the moment it's finished, you can get as a podcast on Global Player. We take the news and most of the ads out, mostly, which means it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity, and by that method, do your bit to protect the environment. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. If you've got one of them stupid smart speakers, then the magic phrase is play Nick Abbott, the whole show podcast. And as I say, almost the moment this show... Well, let me check on that. Is it going to be almost the moment this show finishes? It's going to go up? Huh? Not listening. I think he's in there listening to Classic FM. I know it's relaxing, but I'm trying to do a show here.
This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
I really like you. Do you like me?
Yeah, sure. Why not? 0345 6060 973. Colnbrook. Nick.
Hi, Nick. Nice to speak to you again. Our second time. Look, first of all, may I say it has been a pleasure listening to your show tonight, not because of what you have said, but because you've let other people say, and I've had a chance to hear what they've got to say, and then you've corrected them if they've been wrong and added your comic bits, which I think is brilliant. And it's been a pleasure to listen to tonight. So many people, presenters, shut us down early, and this has been wonderful. It really has been an example of how a show should be. I hope you'll accept that.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, my pleasure. Right, getting to my point, which you, unfortunately, because I've been on for an hour and a half waiting, which is pleasurable, and I thoroughly enjoyed, but it does mean that my brain gets thrown from one side to the other while I'm listening to so many bits.
Yes.
I loved a bit from an advert that I just heard about the Yulzit Zone, but it missed out the M25, which I thought, because most of it's bloody stationary half the time, no wonder they missed it out, because we'd all be nicked every time we used the darn thing, because it's never moving.
It's just a circular car park, is what the M25 is.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know why, by the way? Morons.
Go on.
That's the reason why it's a car park, because morons can't drive properly.
Which are the morons? The ones that are sitting in the outside lane, waiting for the last half mile to go from the outside lane and cut across the or 3, or is it 4 lanes before you get to the slip road? Or the one who's going, I will slow you down because I think in 10 miles ahead you may find that there may be a congestion, I'm not sure, so I'll slow you down now to make a wave so that you'll speed up. But because you start a wave, you bring everybody to a halt. And then we start you moving again. And that drives you bonkers the way you think, what the hell did you stop us for?
Right,
Leave us all flowing.
I don't know, but I think your attitude suggests to me that you are the problem, Nick.
Oh, I hope not. Can I add another one? You mentioned about the UZ zone in London and the atmosphere. Sorry, not the atmosphere, the asthma.
Pollution, yeah.
Yeah, reckon asthma sufferers, 600,000 in London, 240,000 are children. When I tried to Google to find out how many people will be affected by the UZ zone being dumped on London, no information whatsoever is available from Google. But I ask, at the moment you're worried about the atmosphere, we're also saying, hang a moment, if the pollution has come from the cars, did it also come from the housing, where you've got damp, which causes asthma? We've also had a video that was out on YouTube and Facebook and stuff like about the underground system, where the pollution is even worse than it will be from the cars. I hope I'm correct on that one, but the guy did seem very authoritative on that one. Or other jobs that people do where they also get affected.
Yes, all of the above, Nick.
Of what they're working.
All of the above, which does not mean just because a medical problem has multiple potential causes does not mean that we should not act on one of them.
But why has... I mean, let me give you an example. My son at the moment has had to sell his car, and I've lent him £4,000. So he's now got a UZ car that has qualified. Now the Mayor of London is going to give you £2,000 for your car on the condition, I believe, that you buy one of the top-of-the-range electric cars.
No, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. No, I think I think if you're lucky, let me reverse that. If you're unlucky enough to get child support, then I think that you qualify. I don't know what the other qualifying criteria are to get your scrappage amount. I think that some of it may be in the form of an allowance to buy a more compliant vehicle, or it might come in the form of a discount on or free travel on public transport. I can't remember off the top of my head which it is, Nick, but it is in the gift of central government to provide the money for a scrappage scheme. But, of course, central government don't want to do that because the current mayor is a Labour Party mayor.
Doesn't it drive you mad? Which way do you go? Do you go with the Labour Party, which was supposed to be for the people, who now we feel like we're being stitched up by a guy who is either doing some very good things for some people and absolutely crippling other people, or do you go for the Conservative person that's going to be mayor, who is offering to put herself forward on the grounds that she will get rid of the UZ zone completely, which will stop other people that are suffering the fear. I mean, my daughter-in-law is getting a seven-seater vehicle for her family. It's going to now. Her car's going to be worth peanuts. But meanwhile, to buy a vehicle that's going to qualify is going to be about 14 grand, and that's going to be the cheapest seven-seater. Where does she go?
Seven-seater? She's driving a bus.
She's got 4 children, plus she's taken one of my daughter's children who lost her kids due to
the dog,
smoking something she shouldn't have been.
Uncle Tom Cogley and all. Yeah, I've got no idea, Nick, but when it comes to it, put your cross in the correct box. Don't make a mistake. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. This tweet says the first world... Oh, this is also... how many pages of tweets and so 11 pages of closely typed tweets. So I'm actually getting around to the tweets that came in response to things that I said in the first hour. So these might not make any sense. But this says the first world is the capitalist world, the second world is the socialist world, and the third world is everyone else. A book said it. Can you be more specific? What book? The first world is the capitalist world. The second world is the socialist world. Well, what countries are run on socialist principles? Unless you mean Norway, Sweden, places like that, in which case I'd rather live in the socialist world, because that's where the happy people live. HAPPY-ness in Norway and Sweden, and it's not just because they get to have a hot Scandinavian interface with each other.
Disgusting.
It's more than that. The socialist world in Norway and Sweden is where the government takes the taxes from the people and then spends those taxes for the benefit of the people. I know. What a concept. As opposed to here, where the government takes the taxes from the people, and that's it. 0345 6060 973. Windsor, Remy. Oh, Remy.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Remy.
Yep. Hello. Hiya.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me? I just want to say that London ULEZ is like, for myself, it's like a bit of scrap, because I do understand, because there was a question on the end of the last hour that why Londoners should breathe pollutant air because someone want to drive to London, yeah? And I think it's basically big city has some of advantages and also it has some disadvantages, yeah? And these things which you mentioned before around why some people have to suffer because someone else want to get some privileges, yeah? Actually, in this case of ULEZ, we do exactly the same, because banning the vehicles with the below Euro 6, it's transferring everything into the electric, yeah? But electric vehicles, obviously, they don't generate any CO2, but we have to get that energy from somewhere else, and that actually makes somewhere else pollutant air.
That's right.
Produce that energy.
Correct.
To make London better, yeah? So,
But it's not the same amount of pollution, and it's not in a built-up area. That's the point.
Yeah.
The ULEZ charge is to make London's famously filthy air more breathable and less damaging to your health. And to say, well, we shouldn't do that because to make an electric car causes pollution somewhere else is, that means we should never do anything unless the result is absolutely perfect, which would mean complete stasis on every issue, because perfect doesn't exist.
Yeah, I do know your point, but we do live, as we were told, in a free world, yeah? Capitalism, yes? Free market, yeah? Mm-hmm. So free market means that market can self-adjust with everything, yeah?
That's not what that means. No, you shouldn't. A free market does not mean that you are free to do anything you want. No, that's not what that means.
I just want to take that. Sorry for interrupting you. I just want to tell about this one as an example, yeah? So in the market, we don't have to regulate the prices, for example, because market itself works this way that it find out the price.
Well,
it
depends. It depends.
Yeah?
It depends. I mean, the price of...
It depends on the demand, and it depends on the supplying, yeah? That make a price.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with this, though? I mean, you're talking about...
I'm heading to that point. That
you're going to have to hurry.
Yeah. So basically, we don't have to. In my opinion, we don't have to regulate that.
You don't have to regulate
everything.
because industry will clean its own act up because the public will demand it. Well, I'd love to live in your world, Revy, but I'm afraid that's just you who lives there. You think that we should just bank on the kindness of corporations? Corporations are like sharks. They are amoral killers. They will remove anything in their way of increasing their profits and their power. So if we're going to rely on corporations to clean up the world, then we're in for a bitter disappointment. But thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
So they opened their big mouths and out came talk. Talk.
That's an odd story, that, isn't it? And it's got my conspiracy theory radar on full beep. Violent foreign prisoners are being released from jail early and housed in immigration centres where they can come and go hither, thither and yon. Shall we fast forward a couple of weeks and anybody want to take a bet that there is not a headline in a newspaper that says violent foreign criminal escapes from immigration centre and does something violent, which is more proof that we need to stop the boats.
The country's priority is to stop the boats. And at the same time, I think people know that I'm relentlessly focusing on stopping the boats.
Yeah, sure you are. And that will remove all complaints about the government policy in this regard. Now, that does sound like a conspiracy theory, but would you bet against that happening? That it will silence all protests if a foreign violent prisoner does something violent while being foreign? And, by that method, it's the government's top priority to remove all foreigners and, furthermore, to stop foreigners arriving here in the first place. I know that sounds a bit loopy, but I do believe that that is where we are now. In loopy land. Which is not half as much fun as it sounds. 034, you have to be at least this tall to ride on this attraction in loopy land. Terms and conditions apply. Brussels. Hello, Emma.
Yeah, hi, Nick. So you absolutely talked to point I was going to make, which is that in 2024 we have the election in the US. Mm-hmm. We have the election in the European Union, and we're very likely to have an election in the United Kingdom.
An election in the European Union?
Yeah, so we have the re-election of the MEPs, who currently are looking to be really looking to the far right, to be the majority party there.
Well, that can only happen if everybody else doesn't bother to go and vote. This is why Uncle Nige and his merry band of idiots, that's why they got to be our representatives in Europe.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
To talk to everything you said all for the last hour and a half I've been waiting to contribute, absolutely you're on point, because what the EU are doing is watching what's happening in the UK, and they're seeing how the nastiness of our foreign policy could be adopted in the EU.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I mean, the one thing that Brexit has taught all other European countries is the folly of leaving the European Union.
Absolutely, absolutely that. But what they are learning is about how you can have a foreign policy that could be absolutely ruthless. I look at Frontex, which is, as you probably know, the body that's meant to supposedly support people coming into the EU, supposedly immigrants coming into the EU on boats or on whatever means, and they are well known to be through radar. Digital radar shows they're pushing people back, and that's what we know happened. Allegedly, I think we still have to say allegedly in Greece, and so they are looking to the UK. So we've got these three elections: the EU, the UK, and in the US. Right. And all three are looking to have this rather dire policy around immigration.
Well,
really?
I don't agree. That assumes that Donald Trump is going to win the American election, that the Conservatives are going to win this election, and that the far right are going to win in Europe. And none of those things are certain, or even, I would suggest, likely.
Well, I think that's what does Italy show us? What does Spain show us? What does what's happened in the UK? I'm in the Labour Party. I'm a member of the Labour Party. And they're turning themselves, they're sheep in wolf clothing.
Well, what does France tell us? The rise of the right in France was somewhat overstated. A country has just had an election, and the right wing failed to achieve anything there either.
But Macron has adopted his policy. I mean, he was shaking hands with the Prince of Saudi Arabia just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, well, that's business. That's money. That is. You don't necessarily agree with their politics if you just want to take their money.
Well, it's all part, I think, of the same. I think it is. I think you have to see it in the context.
Of course it is not. If we only did business with people whose reputations were unbesmirched, then nobody would do any business with anybody at all, ever.
Okay, so if I could say, my second point was going to be, and I thought you'd quite like this one, I'm not sure, let's see, was that in the private eye, last private eye, not the one just currently out, but the one before, they had a cartoon which was of the BBC saying, yes, now we've talked to people who are against torturing monkeys, this horrible story that came out last month. We're now going to talk to those who are pro abusing monkeys. And so back to the whole discussion you've had the last hour around Farage.
That was a cartoon in Private Eye. It's not as funny as I remember it.
Well, and the point being that we always put, let's get away, if we move into these elections.
False equivalence, that's what you're talking about.
We have to be really careful about having false equivalence. We need to, not have Matthew Godwin, who seems to be everywhere.
What we need, Emma, is for people to get off their bottoms and go down and vote. This is why Nigel Farage and his Faragists were so popular in representing us in the European Union.
We are thick, we are stupid.
It's because they relied on people to not go and vote, which is why they were so successful, is because they were voted in by single-issue obsessives. If everyone had gone and voted, he wouldn't have had a look in. He wouldn't have got anywhere near the European Parliament. And we know that because of his success in trying to become a representative of the people of this country. MP. Lost to a man in a dolphin suit. So he would not have won if the turnout had been better. Which means that, I think this should underline this from now until the end of time, all elections of a national... scrap that national. All elections, full stop, period, should be 100% turnout. That should be the law. And then single-issue obsessives like that would not get a sniff of power because the majority do not believe what he believes in. The majority of the people in this country are not far right. We only think they are because they shout the loudest. Just think of all of the elections since the Second World War. The majority have, pretty much every single election since the Second World War, the majority of the votes cast have been for centre-left parties. But for 2/3 of the time, the Tories have won because those centre-left parties' votes were split between multiple parties, thereby the left doing its usual thing and forming a circular firing squad and taking themselves out, and then the Tories, who with less than half the votes, got 100% of the power over and over and over again. But they don't represent the people of this country. They represent a minority of the people of this country. And even they, the minority who vote for them, did so often holding their nose and regretted it almost straight away afterwards. But thanks, Emma. Got to go. 0345 6060 973. Let's have West Devon. Hello, Rose.
Oh, hello, Nick. I've really rung about climate change, but I just wanted to say about the duplicity of these people who are running us.
Yes.
That there is no part of my brain that ever thinks, oh, surely they must be telling the truth. I feel it's been absolutely established that there is no limit to their unscrupulousness.
No.
Absolutely no limit.
Well, I don't think
and lies are the daily currency. It's what they do.
We ain't seen nothing yet. Just wait. We're away from the next general election. As it gets nearer and nearer, they're going to ramp it up and up.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is always duplicity. They will stop at nothing. There is nothing about them that thinks what might be good for somebody else.
Yeah.
What would be good for the nation? Nothing.
Right.
It isn't there.
But
that's how I see it.
I don't disagree with you at all.
No, I didn't think we did, darling. Just about the Tory Peter Lilly, I heard that he was presented with. I heard this discussion. He was presented with the figures about how many people had died here as a result of the heat waves. And he replied proudly, oh, but many more than that die of cold here every winter, sadly failing to grasp that is the fault of government negligence.
Yes.
Is it bonkers or is it evil? He cannot be that thick, can he?
No, I have made my decision. Are our government ministers and representatives and enablers and hangers-on, are they ignoramuses, or is it worse than that? Are they evil? I know which I've decided on.
Yes, and I strongly think they are, yes. Could I put in something slightly trivial and amusing?
Oh, yes, please.
Well, it's just that the caller, Jonathan, I just get sheer delight from his smattering of the definite article all over the place.
Who is that?
I think he actually said, the Indian chap, he actually said the Manchester United.
Yeah, something like that.
And he said the Brexit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was walking down the Bond Street, there were rainbows everywhere. That was last week, I think. And it's just sheer delight.
I don't recall that. He was walking down Bond Street and there were rainbows everywhere?
Yes, he said, I'm not... I shouldn't be doing this. It sounds like I'm making fun of him, but it's just delightful. I'm not homophobic, but on the Bond Street there were rainbows everywhere, which must have somehow distressed him for some reason.
Oh, you mean that there was on shops? Right, I thought that he was actually seeing rainbows in the sky everywhere.
Oh,
I thought, wow,
no,
what has he been on?
Yeah, no, I've thrown it at you out of context.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well,
we had...
go on.
Yeah, go on.
No.
I was just going to say we had, for Meghan Markle, and I hope he won't stop doing it now, because I don't know what it is, Nick. There's something, that's so delightful about it.
Well, I'm going to, like I said before, I'm going to put him on the Best Of podcast that comes out on a Monday called the Nick Abbot Habit. It's normally of old clips from pre-COVID. I've been going through old shows. But every now and again, I'll pull off something that is very, very recent and new. And I think he's going on this week's, coming out on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Rose. Keep your chin
Thanks,
up.
Nick.
It might never Oh, no. That's right. It already has.
This is LBC. Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Hello. Number, please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Mika tweets, wait a minute, reverse it. Shouldn't it be your priorities are the government's priorities?
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
Yeah, that's right. You got that wrong, mate. Who do you think you're kidding, Mr. Sunak? Under your leadership, the government's priorities are our priorities. What, after we being subject to endless propaganda that persuades us to believe that? Is that what you mean? What an absolute shower. 0345 6060 973. Oldbury, Ranjit.
Nick, you okay?
Yes, super. Thanks for asking.
Oh, yeah. You know, there's remember the balloons that were floating around and they reckon they were spying, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Chinese spying balloons. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they reckon they've got a picture of two old English sheepdogs percolating, wearing high-vis jackets somewhere.
What are you talking about?
Old English sheepdogs.
Old English sheepdogs, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were kind of having their way,
Yes.
yeah. In the field,
doggy
wearing
relations, yes.
Doggy relations, wearing high-vis jackets, yeah. What does that remind you of?
Well...
Okay, I'll let you leave it to your imagination. Yeah, Nadine Dorries, talking about her.
Yes.
Yeah, she... You know when you keep on referring to Boris Johnson as just William, yeah? Now you've got the other character that used to shout, I'll scream, I'll scream, I'll scream.
Scream till I'm thick. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's her now, and she's like, the boy who cried wolf, yeah? So it's about time her constituency actually got her the sack without her resigning, because she
hasn't actually been given the sack yet.
She should be given the sack. I don't know if legally the constituency can do that.
No, I don't believe that they can. No, a screwed up system, I'm sure, precludes that.
Yeah, so that's just another. And I want to get onto Jonathan as well, actually, because he's amazing. You know, Nigel Farage, he's been looking for a space to get back into the media, yeah?
Oh.
Because he can't exactly go and help Donald Trump now because he might not get a visiting order. He might not get a visiting order.
Yeah, you go over and try to help Donald Trump now, and you'll probably end up in an adjoining cell.
Yeah, so he needed a platform, and I think he's got one. All right. So I mean, I'm thinking, did he actually get the BBC reporter to set that woman up or whatever? Because on that GB News,
I seriously doubt that that's even close to being
I don't know, but look, anything's possible these days, because Rishi Sunak last week says, no matter what happens, I'm going to try and win this election, even if it means virtually dividing the people, making them, hate each other, or words to that effect.
If he has to actually set fire to this entire country, he's going to, by hook or by crook, he's going to do his best to win. Which makes you wonder why. Why is somebody who's worth that much, who is a lover of the easy life, why is a lounge lizard like him so keen to keep at a job which pays so very, very little and comes with such a lot of stress?
You know your producer that was on last week, is he the same producer this week? I spoke to him, and I explained to him. So. I didn't really want to explain it on air, but I've got a theory behind that, and I might get you might not hear from me again. You see, I'll be holding up a bridge somewhere. Yeah. Okay, like Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah.
Never take the same route back from work, Ranjit.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. There's a bigger picture of what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't doubt it for a moment. Yeah, what we can be absolutely certain of it is that he's not doing it for the benefit of us, the little people.
No. And then, Jonathan, right, he says he's walkie-talkie and the rainbow and everything. Jonathan, right, Nigel Farage, right, he's going to work out how many people voted for Brexit, yeah? And he's going to be doing telephone interviews, right, and regarding regional accents. And, Jonathan, your accent isn't from Harrow, so you need to be careful, right, supporting Brexit and all this anti-woke stuff. Yeah, because Farage and his army are looking for you.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for the bad news, Ranjit. Charlie says, "Hi, Nick. Good news. I have no idea as to why Fishy wants to be PM. I believe the poor chap feels emasculated. If you think about it, in his family, he's a low earner. Both his wife and father-in-law are worth more money than he could ever hope to earn. Add to this, I'm not saying his wife would definitely beat him in an arm wrestle. It would be close. So the only way he could regain some respect in his household was through political high-rolling. Sad, really. Yeah, I had that thought as well. Yeah. Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some of that in there. Yeah. Now, have I done a break? Have I done a break this half hour? One moment, please. So that breaks there. That comes after. No, it looks like I have. Wow, I'm actually on time and in place. Things are going swimmingly. Can you believe that?
No.
0345 6060 973. Glasgow. Hello, Steve. Oh, Steve. Poor Steve.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
There you are.
Just a quick one for my main.
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Hi there. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Just a quick one before I make my main point.
Mm-hmm.
That Nigel Farage clip, he really cracks me up because you've got a 7-second delay, and he still lets that guy talk. So you could have cut him off before he got to here, and he still let him go. So
that's right.
It just shows you how unprofessional he actually is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So my main point is, why do we keep continuing to listen to people like Tony Blair? He's a spokesperson for a funding group that he lobbies on behalf of. I don't understand it. And the point he's trying to make is that we shouldn't be paying, other countries should be paying because they pollute more. Now let's analyse that. There's two reasons that's a reductive argument. China,
wait a minute, hang on. Wait. Hey, Steve, hang on, back up. So you're saying that Tony Blair says what?
Yeah, right.
What?
Huh?
Oh no, his phone's
Tony
gone.
Blair was saying that countries like Britain...
Yeah.
Hello? Hi. Tony Blair was saying that countries like Britain shouldn't pay as much as other countries who pollute more. That's reductive for two reasons.
Pay as much
because China has got 1.2 billion people.
Hang on a minute.
We've got 65 million people.
Wait a minute. Pay as much in what regard? For what?
Towards environmental controls to bring down pollution in the environment.
Right.
That was his argument. That's what he was saying today or yesterday about this. So my argument is that in two fronts he's wrong, and we should stop listening to him. Then my front is that China's got 1.2 billion people and produce 30% of the pollution environmental across the world. We've got 65 million people.
Yeah.
So their population is 20 times greater than ours, for a start. But that hides the real truth. The truth of the matter is that the majority of production is that we consume is created in other countries. So we're outsourcing our environmental impact to other countries.
That's right.
Whether it be technology, whether it be food, whether it be clothing. So we don't produce, as a country, yes, we only produce 2% emissions. But if you look at the individuals within countries, we consume more per head of population individually than other countries, say even China. Yeah. I think that the stats, if you look at it on the global index, we consume as individuals 20 times more than somebody in China does.
Right.
If you look at the consumption that we make. It's a highly reductive argument.
All right, I understand you completely. What I don't really understand is what this reference to paying more. Who are we paying? There's some delay. It's like I'm talking to you on the International Space Station, Steve.
And taxation.
Right. Okay, but we're not paying some central
I don't know what's going on
body.
here.
No, I don't know it, and it's a bit difficult because there seems to be a delay. But and I agree with you completely. Yes, China may pollute more than us in this country specifically, but in the West in general. But that is in large part because we have offshored our pollution. Not only do we send our rubbish and our thrown away clothes and papers and electronic equipment and all of that to third world countries for them to sort out and for the poisons to leak into their waterways, and as soon as those boats leave, we wave all that mess a cheery bye-bye and then kid on like it's got nothing to do with us anymore. But we don't make much in this country anymore. We get China to make the stuff for us, China and Taiwan and wherever it might be. And so the pollution that is created by making our stuff might not happen in this country, but it's happening because of us. So, yeah. And I do agree with you, Steve. We should listen to Tony Blair less for a wide variety of reasons, chief amongst which is his hair. What is it with billionaires and, well, I guess he's not a billionaire, but he consorts with billionaires. He's a multi-millionaire. What is it about the super rich that makes them have hair like that? I mean, they've all got it. Richard Branson's got that hair, that sort of scraped back. It's tidy at the front because it's scraped back. But then there's this sort of colossal, unkempt explosion of hair behind them. As though an enormous length in the back makes up for a lack of it in the front. It's like a billionaire's mullet. They've all got the same blooming haircut. Anybody that's got a haircut like that should be listened to less. That is that should be our number one priority.
It's the country's number one priority. It's my number one priority up and down the country, and that will be our focus.
Priority. It's our number one priority. He's the Prime Minister of this country. Can you believe that? No. What a way to run a nation, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. Is that the time? God, don't it fly when you're out your mind?
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Now, wait a minute. I don't like that kind of talk. Now, just stop it. It upsets me.
Dave texts, the temperatures are due to the jet stream and the pressure patterns. And I should alert you. Warning. We've got a denier. He says the temperatures are due to the jet stream and the pressure patterns. The highest temperatures in Greece were in 1977, over 45 years ago. I have a 13-year-old son, and I'm certainly not worried about him burning up. I'm far more worried about the woke and climate hysteria, says Dave. Dave, I want you to know that I mean this in a nice way, but you're a numpty, and I bet your 13-year-old son thinks you're a numpty too. Taking one specific statistic to disprove a generalisation. Email from Paul says, Nick, I've been driving from Kent to London for work for years. I have worked out that in that time I have spent roughly £48,000 on petrol, which is mostly tax. Mostly. I want to know what the government has done with all that money. They've taken it and they've sprayed it all over themselves. They want to know that they appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have no idea where all of our tax money goes. Honestly, does anybody? Because other better-run countries, they have governments which use their tax money for the benefit of the people. We, on the other hand, we're paying the largest amount of tax in recorded history. I don't know whether that's true or not, but even if it isn't, it doesn't make it not a fact. Have you heard? We're paying the largest amount of tax in recorded history, and yet nobody has any idea what the hell they're actually spending the money on, apart from themselves. New Malden. Hello, Ahmed.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Yes, I think you probably heard all of this before, but this should shock you even more. We are being mugged by oil companies, gas companies making these eye-watering, mouth-watering profits, and Bank of Finland inflicting all the hardship by increasing unjustifiable interest rates, and the government giving almost $80 billion to these energy companies.
Yes, that is correct.
Everyone is on the bandwagon mugging us, and no one is doing anything about it.
No, we're actually subsidising the fossil fuel giants to the tune of £80 billion.
Billion pounds.
Not million, billion pounds. We're giving companies that are making more money than they know what to do with. That's where our taxes are going. We're giving them to oil companies. Amazing, but true.
So if you are a billionaire, you're just almost doubling your money within 2-3 years.
Yes. The rich have done fantastically well over the last 10 years.
And we are just, we are just mugged.
We sit here drowning, yeah.
Well, someone really now stand up and do something about it. How long we can just keep talking about it and no one seems to be these incompetent occupants at Downing Street.
I don't think they are incompetent. I think it's much, much worse than that. I think they're doing a very, very good job. They are achieving their aims 100% of the time. It just looks to the outside as incompetence because that's not what we would assume a government would try to be doing.
Well, I was just being polite, but I don't want to use that.
All right, well, always be polite, Ahmed.
Be polite!
I mean, good manners don't cost nothing, do they? Thanks a lot, mate. British Gas has reported record half-year profits as millions of households continue to struggle to pay their energy bills. British Gas's profits rose to, get ready, £969 million. This is for 6 months. They made £969 million profit in 6 months. This is after price cap rises allowed it to make more money from household bills. And the price cap, when the government crows on about, we're spending money in order to lower your bills, that's not what they're doing at all. They're taking your tax money and giving it to energy giants. The regulator Ofgem said that, who cares, regulator, please. They said the bumper results were a one-off due to the changes. They made a one-off profit of almost £1 billion in 6 months. And the regulator, Ofgem, said nothing to see here. It's just a one-off. About half of British Gas's profits, £500 million, were due to changes to the price cap made by the energy regulator. By comparison, the business reported a profit of £98 million in the same period last year. £98 million last year. In 6 months, £969 million profit. While you are concerned about turning your, never mind about your heating, your lights on. British Gas owner Centrica reported underlying operating profits of £2.1 billion for the first 6 months of the year. It's proposed a 33% hike in dividends, a £450 million extension of share buybacks. And share buybacks are popular with shareholders because they increase the value of the shares, and they're popular with executives because where the share value goes, so do their bonuses. In other news, the Food and Household Products Group, Unilever, reported profits soared over the first 6 months of this year, based almost entirely on raising their prices. Unilever said that across the business, pre-tax profit rose 21% to €3.9 billion. 6 months. €3.9 billion in 6 months. Supermarkets, who themselves have been accused of so-called greedflation, that is, exploiting high inflation to increase their profits, accused suppliers of hiking prices. In other news, International Airlines Group has announced record profits for the first half of 2023, with airfares up almost 10% on last year. The British Airways owner said they just coined for their first 6 months operating profit, £1.1 billion. In April this year, ExxonMobil reported a record first quarter profit that was more than double a year ago. Net profit rose to £11.43 billion.
What?
Yeah. That's in 3 months. A first quarter profit of £11.43 billion. Exxon rival Chevron also beat market expectations. Net profit climbed 5% to £6.57 billion for 3 months. Some people are doing just fine. Thank you very much. Just fine. 0345 6060 973. Kilmarnock. Hello, Leslie.
Hello?
Leslie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
So earlier you had a caller talk about Second World.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to let you know that that's the old communist bloc.
Right, which isn't there anymore.
Nah, that's right.
No. Well, they described it as socialist on that tweet that I read out, but I don't think socialism has ever been actually tried anywhere. It's been just, varying degrees of oligarchy.
Yeah, that's right. So I just thought I'd let you know. The other question I've got for you, if I've got a bit of time.
Yeah. Go
Do
ahead.
you like the film Brazil? Because me and my partner have been having a conversation about it, and she says that's not very good, but I thought it was the best film that I've ever seen.
Your partner says that Brazil is not very good?
Yeah.
Which bit didn't she like?
She didn't really understand any of it.
Right. Well, what's not to understand? I mean, just to sit there and look at the visuals is entertaining enough, no?
That's what I said. I said the music, everything about it.
Yeah.
But she said it was very good. She prefers Pretty Woman.
Right. Well, I think on movie night you want to go to separate cinemas. That's my recommendation to you, Leslie. All right.
Because I was going to suggest Doctor Strangelove for next one, but she doesn't want to watch that either.
No, she won't want to watch that neither. No. All right. Well, I wish you all the best, and don't let anybody take your special essence. That's the lesson I learned from Dr. Strangelove. 0345 6060 973. And never have a fight in the war room. Ever. Sean says, Nick, did you get a sample of Carol from your recent podcast? You said you were going to take it for your show. No, I can't remember which one it was. I forgot. I'm forgetting a lot lately.
Yeah.
Jessica emails, Hi, Nick, are Just Stop Oil heroes yet? Or will it be like when Sinead O'Connor said the church should be held to account for abuse and everyone got angry for her, or with her rather, for pointing it out? Yeah, we don't mind the abuse, just don't say that they've been abusing. That's all. That's the most important part, is just pretend it never happened. Certain individuals get a pass because they believe in an invisible space wizard. That's their get-out-of-jail-free card. It don't make no sense to me, but, what does? What does these days? Not much. Bodmin, hello, Malcolm.
Hello, Nick.
Malcolm.
The Farage and the bank.
Yeah. Just on that Sinead O'Connor thing, by the way, if you saw the... what?
No, it's sad news.
Yes, very.
Wonderful.
But if you saw that clip of Joe Pesci, who was on Saturday Night Live, I think the week following when Sinead O'Connor tore up a picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live, I guess it's probably not worth watching because I used to like Joe Pesci, but not so much. Not so much. Not so much anymore.
I tell you, it makes me smile every time I think about it. My Cousin Vinny, that is a brilliant film. The judge with the stammer in the court.
I don't recall. No. I mean,
I'll watch it again.
Okay.
It's like most films that you eventually think are brilliant. It takes a few times to pick up every joke, every funny aspect of it. So yeah, I like him. I think he's good.
Yeah, I'm not sure that a comedy can be, or any comedy can be described as brilliant, because usually, almost always, comedies, the best ones are funny for an hour, and then the comedy just sort of peters out. They've written an hour's worth of amusing, and then they just can't think of anything anymore, and so the storyline takes over, but that's not what people watch a comedy for.
Well, all right. Hey, and look, on Blair, if the best you've got is his hair against him, then I think he'll accept that.
Well, how about his eyes? Look at those eyes.
Beautiful blue eyes. Hey, listen.
A little bit scary, I think. And with each passing year, they get scarier and scarier.
The break is upon us, and you don't want to have me back after the break again, do you? So,
well, we can stretch it a little while. You know, it's late at night. The rules can be relaxed, Malcolm.
Look, the Farage-Sunak thing, it's pretty obvious to me, and I think Farage is making it abundantly clear, and Sunak is ably, like, backing him up in this fact, because it is a fact. The two of them, Sunak and Farage, are absolutely petrified of the banks, the City of London, and business, because it'll be those people who will eventually drag us back into the EU, because if anybody knows the best place to be operating, it's money. And money knows that Europe is where it's at, because Europe and America now are the two big allies against the enemy, so to speak.
Yeah, it's not going to be the banks that do it. It's going to be individual people's realization that we've been had. No. The banks aren't going to shout political messages. They just won't. They will need the right-wing press to do that shouting for them. And the right-wing press don't do what the banks tell them to do.
I couldn't disagree with you more, because the people wanted a second referendum. The people want to rejoin now. If you're looking at numbers and majorities and what the people want.
Huge majority. Yeah.
It's the people are not going to get it done, Nick, believe me, because the politicians we've got, Sunak and Starmer, they're not going to say, okay, let's ask the people. They're not going to do it.
Well, I don't see how the banks are going to do that. How are the banks going to fashion a change in politics?
Well, let me put this to you, right? In a minute, the Tory party backers are going to be fleeing in their droves, because I can tell you now, in my view, the world of business and banks, they've had enough of the Tories and Brexit, because the plan just is not working for them, Nick. They could be making an awful lot more money if we could turn the clock back 7 years.
Yeah, that's right. But the Tories have known this for a long time, and their position is, Mr. Blobby once said...
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Very bad word beginning with F, business. They don't care about business, because that's not where they get their money from, the Tory party.
That's right, but you're making my point for me, Nick, because the point I'm trying to make is that they all need business to get into power, because it's business...
No, not necessarily. No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is business that is funding the political parties. It is, well, to a large extent, it's Russian oligarchs who have been funding a certain well-known political party in this country for a good long time. If you wanted to talk to them, then you were going to have to shell out in rubles.
Well, look, even on your point there, right? Russia are not going to be giving the Tories any money in a hurry now, right?
Correct.
And business is not going to be given.
It's hedge funds. Hedge funds don't care whether we're in or out, just as long as they've got a good bet that they can make money on. It doesn't make any difference to hedge funds whether we're in or out of the European Union. And hedge funds is where the cash is. Banks aren't going to lend political or give political parties money. Banks don't do that. Hedge funds do that.
Nick, where did Boris Johnson go, to kind of phrase yours, where did Boris Johnson go to dress up in other people's uniforms? Where is Sunak doing it now? Where is Starmer doing it now? They go into businesses, and the people who are most welcome in these places historically have been the Tories. You used to have Labour where, I don't know, speaking to unionists.
Right. Well, now businesses know full well that the Conservative Party is not remotely interested in business. They have said it out loud. Every action on their part has made that crystal clear. Everything about Brexit is anti-business, and they don't care. Malcolm, you were quite right. I am close to a break. In fact, some way past it, and I got to go. But thanks for that.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Belfast. Hello, Brendan.
Hello, Nick. Thank you very much for squeezing me in there. And it's great to hear you in such fine fellow. I rang. This is probably the most, the strongest urge to call you that I've ever had over the years. So if you bear with me, I mean, don't give me extra time, as you won't anyway, but I'm wasting my time talking.
Yes. Less of the preamble. Get on with it.
Oh, right. Voting.
Yes.
See, voting, no, I can understand, though I don't agree with, but I totally understand people being apathetic about voting. They think that it won't affect any change, that it doesn't really matter. Yeah. And throughout my life, and throughout loads of people that I know, we've also always felt the same. Because we didn't get to vote here as part of the United Kingdom until 1973, believe it or not. Right. Now, a lot of people won't understand or believe that. Or know about it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have equal rights until 1973. And up until then, and later even, there was a one-party unionist government here.
Right.
And there were no nationalists. They called it a Protestant parliament for a Protestant people. And so we got fed up and thought, well, what's the point of voting?
Yeah. Well, in those circumstances, yes.
Yes. But apathy, and needs must, they put all sorts of obstacles in our way. They said, no, you have to have a voting card, you have to register, you have to prove your name, your address, your everything else.
Yeah, you have to do a little dance in front of a board of invigilators, and only those that are the most bendy will be allowed to vote.
Yeah, and a lot of us didn't have passports, didn't have ID, so you had to apply for medical cards.
Right.
Then when you got your medical
Well, they're
card,
doing the same trick here now.
That's why I'm saying this about the importance for the English people, and I speak specifically about the English because I don't think this really affects the Scottish and the Welsh to the same degree. But getting back to 1973, now we eventually all got registered. We jumped through all the hoops. Now, it didn't happen overnight. We still can't vote for the Tories or Labour, although they are our administrative government. We don't have a vote at Westminster, and that's another thing that people need to understand. We can't vote. We can't decide if it's Boris Johnson or Keir Starmer. We don't have that kind of a vote, even today.
Well, even we don't have that. I mean, we are supposedly going out to vote for our MP. That's not really what people do. They go out and vote for the party that they want running the country, or who is run by somebody who's amusing.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
That's the reason why people vote.
But here's the really important part for me, anyway. That's important to me, and I really feel very, very passionate about this. Is that no matter how bad things are, or no matter how broken society seems to be, or no matter how much you hate the Tories, or even how much you hate Labour, or believe that they're unable to make change, you've still got to vote. And what's more important now, today, is not just people need to register to vote.
Correct.
They need to register to be able to vote. So people need to stop saying you've got to vote, because people who don't register will say they're not talking about me. I'm not registered. The message needs to be you've got to register to vote.
Yes.
And what happened to us, Nick? If you just let me say, I know I'm hogging you, but I really want to hit this last piece. What happened to us after 60 years of a one-party state where nationalists were not welcome? And this is historic fact. It's not my opinion. It's, read any history book by any...
Oh, homework?
No. but that's... See, in 2022... There was enough of us who registered to vote to make change. Now, that's how long it took. It took 63 years. It didn't happen overnight. And in 2022, nationalism outvoted that one-party right-wing unionist vote.
It is vital. The more... The more impediments they put in your way to vote, the more important it is to vote, to actually do it. They'll try anything they can to prevent people who won't vote for the regime to actually show up at a polling station. They're playing the same tricks as the Republican Party in America. Don't fall for them. If they make it more difficult, then you have to actually just achieve whatever it is that they put in front of you in order to vote. Because it's just absolutely, utterly and completely vital. We must do it.
Please let me say this. You see, in 2022... after 63 years of one-party unionist rule, nationalism became the biggest party. What did unionism do? It collapsed the government and refuses to share power.
They've flounced out. They've taken their ball. And they're saying, right, no, if I can't play, if I'm not going to win, no one can play.
But nationalism isn't angry anymore. It's just laughing at them because they cannot change the tide of history. Right. 63 years it took us to keep voting, and once we won the vote,
yes, right. I agree with you, and I got to go. But thanks, Brendan. That is the thing that you hear a lot. You say, oh well, nothing. The last time I went and voted for whoever it might be, and they said nothing changed. Well, what do you want? Instant results? Things take time. But if everybody votes at every election, by which I also include local elections, then by small increments, things will be better in the future. You won't get nirvana straight away, but, you might get the Foo Fighters. So just try it, you might like it. 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 So just try it, you might like it.